Hey everyone, and welcome to the 8-Figure Agent Podcast. My name is Jared Larsen, and I'm joined by my co-host Matt Walker, CEO of Swivel, the world's most flexible financial services CRM. Our mission is to build community, a community where we can empower each other to achieve remarkable success in the financial sector. Join Matt and me every week as we will motivate you to reach new heights in your career and unlock your full potential. Reaching your next level of success starts now.
All right, welcome to the 8-Figure Agent. I'm Matt Walker, and today I'm going to be your host instead of Jared Larsen. The reason that I'm hosting today is because I want you guys to know Jared Larsen, hopefully the way that I do, in a very short period of time. He is absolutely amazing. His story is unique and wonderful, and I think it'd be fun to get to know him. So we're going to start off, Jared. You're, the Chief Marketing Officer of Swivel CRM. And you have a wonderful family, you own a farm, you're an athlete extraordinaire, and, how'd you get there? Walk me through, just give people a quick background, where you grew up, what you like to do, and don't be shy, brag about your swimming and your soccer and your bicycling, and then let's kind of get you to where you kind of start your life.
Yeah. Woo, that's a loaded question. I'm going to start back way a long time ago. My name's Jared Bruce Larsen, and I do hard things. I'm 44 years old. I weigh 176 pounds. My favorite color is green. You're going to get to know me. I love to goof off, but I love achieving, and I'm definitely an achiever, Matt. And so where does it start? When I was a young kid, you have an ideology in your mind of what the world's supposed to be like, of what your family is supposed to look and feel like. And then you look around and you're judging, engaging, and you're trying to find who you are.
Yeah.
And what I learned was that, man, my life wasn't what it was supposed to be, right? Or what I thought it was supposed to be. And it was riddled with challenges and all these hardships and things that I had to learn to overcome. And one thing that I learned and that has contributed to my overachievingness was I felt like I was sometimes a little bit out of control in some of those areas. And so what I knew I could do was I could control my effort. And so that's where I developed a lot of my drive in athletics, drive in whatever it was that I could do to maybe be the best, but really internally compete with myself and do better and continue to progress. And I think I developed that at a young age. And I know I said my name is Jared Bruce Larsen and I do hard things. That's a motto my family's adopted. And we all say that. We say our full names. And it's a story from my son, Ryder. Do you want me to share that, Matt?
Yeah, Give me the Ryder stories. They're my favorites.
Okay, this is cool. Ryder Bruce Larsen is my son. We call him Ryder Boy. He was 2 years old. It was his birthday, and we're sitting there watching the Tour de France. I'm a cyclist. I love cycling, and I'm like, look at this. This is Chris Froome. He's doing this attack. That means nothing to you guys. And it meant nothing to my son either.
Yeah.
But he looks up and he's like, Daddy, I do it. And he wanted this, he wanted to ride a bike. I'm like, no way, my son's a cyclist too. And I yell across the room, I'm like, babe, we're going to the bike store. He wants a bike. And I'm just going to kind of cut to the chase. We go to the bike store and there's this bike out front. We decide to buy it. And I made a mistake, or I guess maybe not a mistake, maybe it was fortuitous. And I said, I want the training wheels taken off. My wife was not happy with that, but I felt strongly we didn't need the training wheels on the bike. And so the compromise between me and my wife was we'll get him this really nice astronaut-sized helmet and put it on his head. And so we get in the car, and my wife was nervously, sitting there, maybe frustratedly looking at me, and my son's in the back to make it worse, yelling, bike, bike, bike. Yeah. He's just so excited. And we get him home, and there was a little handle right under his seat, and we strapped this astronaut helmet on his head, and I grab it. We're at the top of my driveway that was gently sloping, and I just said a prayer in my heart, and I let go. And he took 3 or 4 pedal strokes, and he hit the cement pretty hard. And before he almost could hit the ground, I was there. Hey, it's okay, buddy. You're all right.
Yeah.
Like, let's go. Let's do this again. And number 2, I sent him off, and whack, he hits the cement again, 3 or 4 pedal strokes in. Well, this happens 4 times, and on the 4th time, I am like praying heavy that he will just make it. Like, I do not want to be sleeping in the doghouse for that long. My wife's watching out of the corner of her eyes, and I send him down this time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pedal strokes, 6, 7, 8. He's at the bottom of the driveway. And just as he gets to the bottom of the driveway, he turns his his handlebars, and he goes straight over the edge of his handlebars where he impacts his chin right on the cement.
Oh, geez. Mom
And
loves that.
oh, mom was not happy. We both go rushing down there. And what happened next was such a valuable lesson to me. Before we could even get down there, he stood up and he brushed off his legs. And he looks at me and my wife and he says, "My name's Ryder Bruce Larsen, and I do hard things." And he got back on his bike
I
and
love
and
it.
and he just rode. And that's an affirmation we've said with him since my wife was pregnant every single day. And it's so interesting as the things that we tell ourselves, we start believing those. And I do believe I can do hard things. And interestingly enough, the greatest teacher in my life has been my son in that moment when he said, "I do hard things."
Well, it's funny when you tell that story. I've heard that story. It's been kind of a part of my life, and I've had some major, moments where I knew I was jumping into a difficult meeting, a huge opportunity, a family thing, a physical thing, whatever it does. And his words echo in my head now. And I'm like, I'm not Walker. I can do hard things. Like, so it's not only a testament to you, and you rub that off on everyone else. I feel like people who know you feel like, because I'm with Jared, I can do hard things too now. So I love that.
Yeah.
Well, okay. So then tell me more. So you have this part of you, and then what? Where are you from? Walk me through kind of where you went to school, and then get me to the point of working Jared.
Yeah. Okay. So I do the correct answer to my favorite cereal is peanut butter Captain Crunch.
Shut up.
It is the greatest cereal of all time.
It's horrible.
I was born and raised in Boise, Idaho, and that's where I grew up. I grew up on the West End, and hunting and fishing with my dad. Those are hobbies that I love. I was a rock climber. I found out that I enjoyed swimming, first because I didn't want to drown, but second because I liked being really fast at swimming.
Yeah.
And so that was cool. And I had this swimming stint where I found some success. I grew up playing soccer actually with Matt. We played on a club team together that was extremely successful and provided us opportunities in college to play and after. But I went to college at the College of Idaho, which was, in my opinion, one of the best decisions that I made. It's one of the top ranked liberal arts colleges. It's not the greatest athletic college, touted all over, shouting from the rooftops. But what it forced me to do was it's based on entrepreneurship. It's based on liberal arts. It's based on writing. And it made me think differently about everything that I was doing. I'm an entrepreneur at heart, and I just knew that was a vein that I needed to continue to stimulate. So I went to school at College of Idaho, graduated. I met my beautiful wife, Kayla. And that has been a blessing to me. I'm the astronaut in the clouds. She is the one that grounds me, and she pulls me down, and she does it in a loving way. But like Matt said, we purchased a farm, and I have learned that life is more about the journey and the progression in the journey than it necessarily about the outcome. And what I mean by that is I hope that you can learn when you're struggling, when you're excelling, and when you're having fun in life, that you can truly be happy where you're at. It may be hard.
Yeah.
It may suck a little bit. But one of the things, my wife will actually laugh at this, the first number of years in our marriage, we could not work on a project together without fighting. It was the most unbelievable thing. It was either me wanting to do it my way or her wanting to do it her way, but we just couldn't figure it out. And one of the things that I have really prided in our relationship is we have learned to work really well together, and overcome things together. And I just don't think there's anything in life that we can't overcome. I think that I would be remiss if I didn't share where I think that strength comes from. And I think that comes from Jesus Christ and my relationship with God. And that's been something that I haven't had my whole life. And Matt is a big reason for that. And I'm grateful because I draw strength off of faith in believing in something that can't be seen and knowing that there's more. And it's given me purpose to my life. And that purpose drives me when I'm stuck. That purpose has driven me when I'm lonely. That purpose has driven me when I've been afraid. That purpose has driven me when I don't know what to do next or where to go. And that is one of the greatest things. And it actually came out of one of the worst situations in my life, which I was descending down Bogus Basin Hill on a little road bike with 1/4-inch wide tires and spandex. And I wrecked my bike at 42 miles an hour, and I impacted a cement barrier that's used to safeguard cars from going off cliffs. And that was in my cycling days. And I laid there broken and bleeding. And you can only imagine the questions you ask yourself. The first question I thought about was, am I going to die? And I certainly wasn't ready for that. And the second question I asked myself is, if I were going to die, am I ready to meet the big man upstairs? And the answer to that question is, I was not. I wasn't. So I made a commitment right then that I was going to live a different life, that I was going to start being a light in a world that is somewhat dampened by darkness, and that I was going to start empowering others to step into their greatness. And that helped shape my mission, my relationship with God and Jesus Christ, but also this one moment. My mission now is to empower others to step into their light. And it's a gift that I've been given. And I love living into that mission. It guides me and it directs me, and it's helped create and shape who I am today. So from a work perspective, I jumped in. I was an entrepreneur, owned multiple different companies. I created a consulting business. I've been consulting in industry for a number of years, almost 20 plus years. And then was a president of a large financial service company as well that had over 350 employees. So I've been there and done that, and I've experienced and I've learned a lot. The majority of my learning experiences I will share is not my wins. The majority of my learning experiences have been the challenges and the losses and the scrapes and the bruises, because it forces me to change.
Yeah.
And so that's really, it's gotten me to where I am now. And then in my consulting, Matt and I collaborated, and he invited me to do something really amazing. And that was to work with him in a company that he created called Swivel, which helps develop CRM and options and opportunities in a somewhat underserved population, with a technological tool that can truly influence change in lives of agents and advisors alike.
Yeah, that's great. Well, yeah. So there's a couple things that were going through my head when you're sharing your story. And you've had a lot of challenges and you've overcome a lot. You're incredibly disciplined. But what do you do when you're not happy?
Oh man, I think that when people become unhappy, I think a lot of times they're focused on themselves and they're trapped. And I would say the thing that I do when I'm unhappy, the first thing I do is I get up and move. I'm going to go work out. I've got to do something like, that I don't want to be stuck and I don't want to lay down. And I've learned that when I lay down and I stay stuck, nothing good comes of that. But I think that the catalyst that propels me out of that, Matt, is serving other people. How can I get out of myself? What can I do? Who can I help? How can I smile, hug someone, change somebody's life? And for a moment while I'm serving, it makes me focus less about myself and focus more on other people. And through that act of service, it helps me get unstuck. It helps me see the things that I'm grateful for. And I know we were joking earlier, but I've carried a rock in my pocket, and it's really pretty funny. It's from when my wife and I lived in Hawaii, but it's a mahalo rock, and this is my gratitude stone, and I've carried it in my pocket for many, many years. And this always helps me when I put my hand in my pocket and I rub on this. It makes me think of the things that I'm grateful for. And so I know people talk about gratitude journals. I know people talk about praying and always being grateful for something. But I will tell you, service and gratitude are the two things that help me get unstuck.
I would say movement, service, and gratitude is what I learned from you. And man, you move. You don't stop moving. That is maybe one of your superpowers. You can't stay still.
There's an old quote that says, a body at rest stays at rest, a body in motion stays in motion. And I've just always thought of that.
That's great.
So.
All right, one more for you here. You've also had your shares of fear, doubt, and I believe we personally live in a world where everyone suffers from some sort of anxiety. Mm-hmm. I know that others are more severe. But in a world where you're facing that, how do you overcome those? What do you do to rid yourself of those emotions?
Well, let me tell you what I didn't do. And one of my greatest fears is that I won't be good enough, or that I won't live up to the expectations that maybe I'm capable of, or maybe that someone else has. At 15 years old, I was swimming. And I was a talented little swimmer. I did zones and all these different junior Olympics, and working my way up to being an Olympic hopeful. That was my track, and that was my path. And at 15 years old, our swim team coach, I swam for Boise Aquatic Swim Club. said, hey, I'd like you to come train with me and start training with the Stanford swim team. It would have required me to move. It would have required upheaval of life and everything. I was playing soccer at the time. By the way, swimming's a one-person sport, and if you fail, it's your fault. Soccer is an 18-person roster, 11 people on the field, 11 people. I'm like, I'm going to duck out, and I'm going to choose Easyville. I'm playing soccer. I'm not doing swimming. And so I quit. Now, years later, as I reflect back on that, the reason I quit, I was afraid of failing my dad. I didn't want to let my dad down, and so I quit. And what happened was, it wasn't necessarily that one decision that was so bad, but after that, I created a habit in my life of quitting. If I didn't think I would be good enough, or I didn't think that I could do it, I would quit. And instead of creating a win streak, I created a habit of quitting. I had to reverse that. I had to reverse the habit of quitting. And so I had to convince myself to stay stuck in long enough that I would endure the pain or endure the challenges and see what comes on the other side. And here's something that helps me get through that. The blessing only comes after the trial of faith. And I've thought about that many, many times. And so me and my wife had this interesting thing. When we're going through hard, or we sometimes call it the suck fest, when we're going through that, we're enduring something, the blessing's just on the other side. Hang on a little bit longer. The other statement that our family says all the time is, I can do anything for 30 days. And if it ain't done at the end of 30 days, I can do anything for 30 more days. And so it's just this adage of just hang on. It will get better. It will get better. As long as you're doing things and taking proactive steps to move forward, it will get better.
Well, I love that you can do anything for 30 days. And, Jared, you're definitely a winner when it comes to those things. And you created a habit of winning. I want to congratulate you on that. And I'm sure we'll get to know more of you and more of your stories as we go. But thanks for sharing.
You're welcome, Matt. Thank you. Thank you so much for hanging out with us today. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure to subscribe and follow us on your preferred platform wherever you listen to podcasts. Remember, success loves company, so share this podcast with someone who you think might enjoy it too, and let's build a community together. Let's keep the momentum going until the next episode drops. And hey, if you got any questions or topic ideas that you would like us to focus on, send us a message on social media. Again, thanks so much for joining us. Until next time.